Hi, my name is Charles, and I'm a convicted felon. Nobody plans on ending up as a convicted felon, in and out of prison, in and out of the judicial system. So I grew up in California. It was in Chula Vista, kind of by Imperial Beach. We lived right on Broadway. We lived, there was a lot of gangs, a lot of heroin, a lot of crime. My family in particular was basically criminals. I mean, my dad was physically abusive. My mother was. They were dysfunctional. Mom and dad ain't paying the rent on time. They're getting kicked out, or dad's going to prison, or he was in the Navy, got kicked out of the Navy for shooting a guy at a bar. Both my father and my stepfather taught me to deal with the world through violence and intimidation, manipulation. So going through life, that was my lesson. Always trying to get over, always trying to cheat, always trying to steal something, even if it was something little. My biological father went to prison twice in the state of California while I was in my teenage years. Like, it's weird. Like, I think at 10 years old, I knew I would end up in prison. I'd go to kids' houses and their dads were chill and regular, man. I'd go home and I'd get beat and my dad would stomp me out for whatever. We'd be moving again, and I don't know, I just didn't know what was gonna happen, but I knew that I wasn't gonna be regular. You know, you're in 10th grade, you're looking at your friends, what are they gonna do? They're talking about college. I'm not going to college. I don't even know where I'm gonna be living in 6 months. When you grow up in a dysfunctional world, right, you gravitate towards a dysfunction because deep down inside you don't feel like you're accepted by regular kids. Because what are you gonna have in common with regular kids? Their dad's not beating them, their dad's not, you know, a petty drug dealer, their dad's not wondering if he has warrants, like, you know? So I just didn't hang out with regular kids. I hung out with the misfits. I was always getting in trouble. We robbed some Asian guys that were selling ecstasy pills, and we robbed them for 5,000 pills, which was a pretty good payday, right? And then I robbed a guy for a lot of weed. And then I thought, yeah, we robbed banks, we're gonna get paid, right? I would go in and ask the lady to speak to the manager about new accounts, and then I would take her to the office and give her a note. Tell her it's a bank robbery, give me the money or I'm gonna start shooting people. She'd give me the money. I was on Colorado's Most Wanted and I was on the news. Not even a full shot, it was a side profile of my face. Like a gas station camera had caught me leaving and some people recognized me. I went to prison in Florida, got out. I did 3 years, went in as a youthful offender, got out, and I went back for 11 years in federal prison for the bank robberies. Got out, went back for a parole violation for a year, got out, went back for felon in possession of a firearm. Altogether, I served about 18 years in prison. Yeah, I mean, it is a vicious cycle. It's perpetuation, right? It's the dysfunction, man. You seek the dysfunction, right? And then you don't feel like you belong out here, so you are constantly trying to go back. And I was a member of the Soldiers of Aryan Culture, man. I can't even explain. The Department of Justice last year did an indictment. They said it is by far the most methodical, predatory, violent, white organization in America right now today, right? When you're living that life, man, like, especially the gang life, as a gangster, you might wake up one day, you might have to kill somebody. One day you might get killed. You don't know what today's gonna bring. But death is an everyday companion, right? Sitting in the passenger seat with you, right? Whether you're killing or getting killed. First time I went to prison, I was looking for all the bad things, man. So I ran into, you know, all these high-powered gangs and all this stuff. And I became a gang member. Then I became uber violent. And then this last time in prison when I met Matt and Ricky, prison did for me what it was designed to do for people. I was open to change, man. I was open to seeing things through a different lens. I was looking for something else, and I found it. Rehabilitation, right? I think what New Horizons is doing is remarkable. A lot of the life skills lessons that I've taken into my life out here were questions that I asked Ricky, you know what I mean? Like, how do you be a father? How do you care about this person? How do you care about that person? How do you, even though I don't have a kid, I have a dog, right? But I love my dog. Yeah, and the dog depends on me. I think Matt and Ricky were the first men that I ever came across in my life that I respected, that were not in the criminal life. Like, I could respect a gangster because he was a moneymaker, he was a killer, he had bodies, you know what I mean? Like all this and that, I could respect him, right? But I think Matt and Ricky were the first two men I ever met that I respected as being fathers, being husbands, didn't cheat on their wives, weren't doing some scam, just honest, good, wholesome men. That was a fairy tale, you know what I mean? That was Hansel and Gretel over here, your life that you lived. This is all I've ever seen. Like, how can you tell me, somebody like me, that has done all that I've done and lived all that I've lived, that there's another world out there? I don't believe you. I can read about it in a book, but when the bus pulls up, I'm not getting on that bus. That's your bus. I'm getting on my bus. My bus is going to hell. You know what I'm saying? Because my bus is on fire. So Matt, Ricky, they're the first people to really help me realize that it is possible to go through life crime-free, drug-free, and trusting God. Ricky and Matt gave me the gift to trust God, man. Matt did a bunch of workshops, right? Like the courtroom of God, where you do this prayer and you confront Satan and you tell him to relinquish the hold on your heart and all that, like an identity, right? Yeah, I mean, the stuff that Matt did was profound. The workshops and the prayers, asking the Holy Spirit to come into me and fill me up, right? Which is real, man. Before I was real angry and bitter, man. I was real, I had a lot of animosity, right? I had a lot of, I don't know, just anger. And I was a member of the Soldiers of Aryan Culture, man. I can't even explain. You know, I was in a white supremacist gang, right? It's funny that I ended up in Detroit. All my neighbors are black, right? I do little things to help them out because they're all senior citizens, right? The lady next door, I'm always helping her out, dude. So yeah, it's almost like, I don't know, God played a trick on me, right? I mean, he took me and he put me here and he's like, okay, here you go, boom. Because this is like everything that I was against. I feel like I have to kind of get back as much as I possibly can. So living in Detroit, man, it's kind of cool. Like this weekend, I went up and seen my mom, hung out with my mom. You know, I actually get to get in my car and drive to my mother's house instead of getting a prison phone call or a letter. I just enjoy being alive. I don't know, I just love life. Hopefully, somebody can watch this video, or maybe Ricky can run across some kid in that prison he's at right now when he's 14, and he can break through that shell, man, and get that kid to realize that, man, this ain't the life, dude. The gang life, the crime life, the street life is not the life, man. The life is about love and happiness and God and empathy and redemption. I don't know, I still am in a constant state of like this, it can't be real that I'm still out here. It's been over 2 years, man. It's a miracle, really. As crazy as that sounds, right? Hi, I'm Charles. I'm like a 10-time convicted felon. I'm definitely not gonna reoffend. I've broken the cycle of incarceration, definitely, 100%. I'm never going back to prison, ever.